Good morning. Whether you're participating online or here in person, we say welcome home to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Mark Anderson, and I am very glad you're here. For our guests, it's nice to have a little bit more light. For our guests, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the Live Oak Weekly newsletter. It's the go-to place to know everything that is happening here, and there's a link on our homepage. Our minister, Reverend Joanna, is on sabbatical through the end of this month. We're very pleased to welcome Reverend Erin to our pulpit this morning. Reverend Eric J. Walter, she, her, hers, serves as the minister and executive director for the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry, our statewide action network. Winner of the 2017 Sermon Award from the UU Women's Federation and a former YMCA director, Reverend Erin is the singer, songwriter, and bassist for the band Parker Woodland and teaches community Zumba as a joy practice. Erin is the affiliated community minister of Wildflower Unitarian Universalist Church in Austin. And now, here and at home, let us light our chalices. Our chalice reading is Let Us Look First to the Response of Love by Maureen Killoran. In these hard times, let us look first to the response of love. In the midst of challenge, may our chalice flame bear witness to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. In the midst of uncertainty, may our chalice be a beacon of encouragement that our values may guide our choices. Let us look first to the response of love. Our opening hymn is number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Please rise either in body or in spirit and join us in singing.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Every week, when we gather, we share pieces of our lives with each other. We share our sorrows so that we may offer comfort to one another, and we share our joys so that we may celebrate together. For those of you watching online, please share in the chat box any joys or sorrows you are carrying today. In this religious community, we hold with reverence the knowledge that each week a multitude of different emotions and experiences are brought together into this space. One of us may be celebrating, one weeping, one filled with determination, one with despair. This mosaic of experiences is holy, and we honor all with our witness.
Good morning. It is so good to see all of you. Wonderful to be back, and I'm excited for you about the church year ahead. I know that you have a new director of lifespan religious education coming. So in this time of big idea, of time for all ages, I celebrate that with you all. And I also can't wait for my friend and colleague, Reverend Joanna, to be back. I thank her for the invitation to your pulpit a couple of times while she was out. And I also celebrate my dear friend and board member of the Texas UU Justice Ministry, Reverend Jamie Yandel, and thank them for their service as your sabbatical minister. I always know I'm in great company here when it comes to your team, as well as the activists in this community. So it's great to be back. Today, during the big idea, I'm going to share a video with you. Some of you may have seen it before. It's the anthem of my life. Not to put too much pressure on it, but it's called The World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love. And when I was with you before the pandemic, I believe I played it for you with one of your musicians. And since then, we made a music video for it. And so I want to give you some spiritual context for this before we watch it together. I want to ask you to think about some questions for your own life when you watch it. So what you're going to see is the last time that I had my community in my home before the pandemic hit. We didn't know when we gathered to have a joyful party for a music video, my band's first ever music video. We didn't know that we were going to be documenting our last time together. And so it's with a lot of emotion, both gratitude and grief, that I have watched this video with more than 100 Unitarian Universalist congregations over the last 2 years, mostly over Zoom. So when you watch it, I want you to know that you're connecting not just to my community and coming into my home in Austin, but you're connecting with UUs all around the country and even in Canada. And we just set out to make a fun party. But what I want you to do, if you will, or what I want to invite you to do when you watch it is to think about 2 questions. One, well, we're going to have a pre-question. What are all the fun things that you see in the video? Those are what I call joy practices. They can be something as little as making pancakes or jumping on a trampoline, hugs, bubbles. You're going to see a lot. So as you take in all the things you see in this rock and roll video, I want you to frame them in your mind, please, as joy practices. And then ask yourself the question, what are some little joy practices in your own life that help you get through? And it might not be that hard to inject. I could blow bubbles today if I wanted to, and it would make my day better. So I want you to think about what are some little things that you can use to bring joy into your day. So for you. And then also, as you see my community, these are the people that I hold so dear. And for a long time, I hadn't seen them. So this was my chance to see them every Sunday. Who are the people in your community that you would want to have in the document of the last great party before the world changed? Okay, so what's your joy practice and who are your people? So I welcome you into the World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love. I also want to give thanks for the truth of Unitarian Universalist Church, which is that we get to be together with all different kinds of music. We've got hymns, we've got classical music, we've got all kinds of music, and this is going to be on the sort of end of that, because you're going to hear a little bit of a jarring sound when you start. When I was listening to this song on the way here today, and it came on, I dropped my coffee. So brace yourselves and welcome to my home. Right. Good morning. All right. So it's video time. You can start thinking of the pre-questions already before the video starts. That's okay. I can reenact it if I have to. I know the song. While we're waiting, would anyone like to just call out? Oh, is it coming? Okay, here we go.
Joke or worse, they tell you it's your fault if you trust. But there's one thing I know, it's this: opposites do coexist, and the last thing they'll ever kill is love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we're not giving up. No, I could let you go. Say it's not worth it. Oh, I could give up before we know. And what's the use in having hope? And even though everything's wrong and it shows, I still look at you and I know one thing could be perfect. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we're not giving up. No, no. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we're not giving up. No, no. I don't wanna be naive, but I catch myself wanting to believe, and I think I could take a risk this time. It's a hard time to look for hope when the truth can feel like a joke or worse. They tell you it's your fault if you try. World's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we're not giving up. No, no. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love.
Thank you. So I forgot to tell you there'd be a quiz. So I would invite you now to call out some joy practice from your own life that you thought of. What are some things? It could be big things. Dancing. Singing. Ooh, tap dancing. What else? Research. That's a you answer right there. I love it. Laughing. Oh, we need more laughter. Swimming with friends. Making art. Painting music. Oh, so many good things. Okay, beautiful. And there's food. Yes. Friends, there's more. Did anyone call one that I didn't say out? Hiking. Riding a toy backwards, like the roller coaster. Cooking. There are some great ones. Okay, my invitation to you is to keep sharing these in coffee hour as you see each other like, oh, I didn't call out such and such. Tell your people. And then, who are some of the people that would be in that joy video of your life? Would you like to call out their names? I won't repeat them, but let's just have a cacophony of names of people we love. Yes. Yes. Blessed be. That cacophony of names brings me so much joy. So my invitation to you is to think about this. Think about how you might use some of those joy practices in this church year and in your life. Really, it's pandemic year 3. I know things are getting better, and at the same time, we still need to make sure we're having some safe and wonderful joy practices to get us through. And then the people you named, are you inviting them to church? Are you reaching out and telling them how much you love them? If there's anybody who's not here as you enter this church year with joy and enthusiasm, make sure you're reaching out to folks and saying, I imagined you in the most joyful video of my life, and I hope to see you soon. All right? I invite you to do that. Thank you.
Every week, we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity, combining our resources to support the ministries of this church. Part of our mission is to empower dreams, and this Sunday, we will be sharing the offering with the Humanitarian Assistance Program at North Austin Muslim Community Center. This program provides about $10,000 a month in rental assistance to qualified applicants, some of whom are refugees. You can learn more about the center and its supportive services at namcc.org. We now invite you to help this program empower their dreams, either by making a donation here or by going to liveoakuu.org and clicking on Donate.
I'd like to start with a reading from the Austrian poet and novelist Rainer Maria Rilke. Rilke lived from 1875 to 1926, and he was born in Prague. And as a white person seeking to connect more with my own heritage, I come from Czech heritage, and so it feels that sense of connection to me is important to someone from my heritage, and I love Rilke's writing. This piece is called Go to the Limits of Your Longing, and I have used it like the anthem, The World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love, with congregations all around the continent in the last 2 years. This is really my last service doing this community ministry of connecting with congregations all around. Next Sunday, I begin an interim ministry for this year as Minister for Joy and Justice with your sister congregation, First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. So, thank you. I look forward to working in deeper relationship with the Central Texas congregations in that role, and also just to being with a church consistently and to go deeper into things together. But I have felt myself nourished and deepened by my relationship with this poem from Rilke over the last 2 years. A friend sent it to me early in the pandemic, knowing the deep grief I was going through, missing some of the people you saw in that video, missing my work at the YMCA when our facilities closed to the pandemic, and then eventually many of our jobs were eliminated, including my own. So I felt like I was going to the limits of my longing all the time. And there's a line in here. I'm going to read you the whole thing, but keep your ears peeled for it. No feeling is final. That's the theme of our service today. The words of Rainer Maria Rilke as translated by Joanna Macy for On Being. God speaks to each of us as he makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Flare up like a flame and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror, just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. A group of my ministerial colleagues have been meeting regularly for Lectio Divina. I don't know if you're familiar with that spiritual practice, but it's the divine reading, that's what that means, Lectio Divina, the divine reading of a poem or a piece of scripture over and over again to let it reveal itself to you and connect to your heart in many ways over time. Every line of this poem means something to me now. Not just no feeling is final. I want to share some things for you from the video and then connect them with this poem. So for about 6 months after we shot that video in my home in February of 2020, I left all that finger paint on the glass. All the kids' hearts, they touched it. People connected. Their hands were in the same paint. How rich an experience to be intergenerational together. I would never take that for granted again after that day. And so I let it bake there in the Texas sun onto my glass from about February to August. Finally, one day, my mom came over. She's the one who raised me, you. My mom came over and we washed it off together. And I'll tell you that that paint, those hearts, the fingerprints of children I love, nourished me for a time. And when we washed it off together, the light that came through again, the view of my yard, the view of the world, the sense of release and letting go of something I was holding on to. It was really powerful. And so when we talk about no feeling being final, one of the things I want to invite you to think about and pray about and be about with me is just reflecting on what things of the past couple years, or maybe for you it's the past week or the past month, whatever period of time represents a transition or a growth or a struggle for you. But what are some things that you are maybe clinging to that have served you, and what are some things you might be ready to let go? The new church year is a really good time to reflect on what we want to bring forward as a community and what we could let go. Same as people, as families. As we start a new school year, as a parent, I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I've noticed myself raising my voice again in ways that I had sort of kind of tried to work through. So I'm recommitting myself to, what stress am I holding? What anger am I holding about the world? As a justice minister, I have an idea what some of the anger is that I might be holding that's affecting my ability to be the best mom I can be right now. But anyway, I just invite you symbolically, emotionally, to think about where you might wash the window and who you love that you might invite to come do that with you. Thank goodness for my mom, and I didn't have to do it alone. Let's hear some parts of this reading again. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, I always invite us to both use the language, welcome the language of other people out in the world, while also, if you need to translate it, translate it. If God's not a word for you, translate it to the word that you like. And if God is a word for you, but he is not the pronoun for you in God, again, I invite you to translate it. But God speaks to each of us as he makes us, Rilke said, then walks with us silently out of the night. Sometimes I also like to imagine that God rolls with us or crawls with us when I think about the beauty of babies and I think about the wisdom of my colleagues who use scooters and wheelchairs. But what I love about this is that we're not alone. In the voice of the divine, Rilke says to us, in words we dimly hear, so a reminder to have some silence every now and then, to listen for what's in the quiet. And you know me, I'm a rocker. I don't do a lot of quiet. So this is a reminder to myself as much as anyone. But the divine says in words we dimly hear, you, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Flare up like a flame and make big shadows I can move in. I'm going to pause us there. I love this so much. The divine is embodied in the shadows. So that's where I go back to the world is on fire. Yes, it is. And continues to be so, and will probably always be so in different ways. It'll be our life, our generations. I've talked with you about this before. The work of justice, the work of putting out the world's fires, that's not a 2022 project. That's a forever project that we must be committed to. But so in this world on fire, there is still love. We still fall in love. We still find beauty. We still go hiking. We still cook. We still go backwards down the roller coaster. And in those big shadows, which are cast by big light, the divine is there, moving with us. So as I've told many UUs in the last couple of years, I have not slept well during the pandemic. I would wake up in the night, which is not like me. And I would say that it was to give my sad thoughts time for themselves. But in the night, thinking about this poem, I would remember that the divine was with me in the dark, in the beauty. And I just share that with you because I believe it. Whatever the divine is to you, whether it's the truth that comes from research, whether it's the beauty of dancing with community, whether it's a voice within, in our hardest times, that is still with us, even when we can't see it. And one of the things that I want to bring forward with me is a positive language around darkness. And so I love that Rilke puts God in the dark, in the shadows. I believe it's so important to cultivate our sense of where darkness is beautiful. Life grows in the darkness of the womb. The stars shine in the darkness of the night. Have any of you been to U Bar U before? Yes, that's our Unitarian Universalist camp out in the hill country, and it's a dark sky park. They have a telescope, but you don't even have to go to it. You can just walk out on the porch and go like this. And if you can't feel a sense of divine, I don't know what to tell you. It's incredible out there. Seeds grow in the darkness of the soil. What looks like destruction when you watch a fast motion video of seeds exploding is growth, is new life. So I love this from Rilke, that the divine is with us in the shadows. Now, let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror, check. We live in the United States. In this century, in late stage capitalism, the terror is for sure. The beauty, I invite you to keep finding and sharing. And Rilke says, just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Don't lose sight of what is beautiful, of what is divine. So let's pause on our line. No feeling is final. For the longest time, I clung to that line as a reminder that I would not be so sad forever, that I would not miss those people forever, that we would be together again. I needed it so much. And then, finally, one day, when I was watching that video with a group of UUs like you, it hit me. It's not just that grief and sorrow will end sometime. It's that our joy is not promised either. That you don't know if this is the last video for your community. You don't know what's coming next. We don't know when a pandemic is coming. We don't know that. And so we need to savor our joy too. That's not bad news, that's good news. That's an invitation to feel it, to live into it, to prioritize delight, fun, time with your grandchildren, time with your best friends, whatever it is. It is an invitation to us to not put off all the best and the beautiful that life has to offer. And for so many of us, because the world is so full of struggles, sometimes it feels a shame to share our joy. Because we know how deep the suffering is. We feel it. So we hide our light under a bushel, but that's not the way. That's not the way. Laughter is contagious, and joy must be amplified and shared. If we invite people into the things that we love with an open heart, with a sense of community, with a sense of shared, just shared delight, I mean, that's what we're here to do. So I invite you to think about when we say no feeling is final, to use that mantra. It was my mantra for so long. To use it to help you get through hard times, to remember that the divine is with you when you wake up at 3 a.m. to feel sad about something like I have. And to remember to share your joy, to seek fun, to blow bubbles today. My promise to you is I'm going to find some bubbles today. I've said it, so now I have to do it. And lastly, I love in this poem where Rilke says, "Give me your hand," as the final line. What it felt like to be in those Brady Bunch Hollywood squares of Zoom. And hello, if you're online today, I'm imagining you and holding your hand too. But what it felt like to be in that Zoom room with everybody and wish that I could hold a hand again. I just hope we don't ever take for granted again, and especially not as we enter this new church year. Like, let's not take for granted any of the wonderful things that we get to do together. And let's get into it. Like, let's engage with it. Let's be excited about the things Reverend Joanna brings forward when she returns, about the things that your new DLFD brings forward. Let's live into it like church could be this joyful party all the time. Lastly, I have another quote that has been a guide for me during this time. It comes from the Indian author and activist Arundhati Roy, and it goes like this. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. Little luggage. I'm going through the portal with Rilke's poem, with music, with community, with hope, and with fierce determination for justice. I invite you to think about what you're going to bring through the portal into the year and the years ahead. My prayer is this: may we have faith that our burdens, our grief will ease because no feeling is final. And may we savor our joys because no feeling is final. Blessed be. Deep gratitude to everyone who's been a part of the service today, in preparation, in planning, in music, in person, and online. You made an effort to be part of this community today, and that matters. There are people here and there are people online who needed you. And you may not know that exactly, but I promise you it's true. And I ask you to tell somebody how good it was to see them today when you get the chance. I also invite you to join me in a spirit of meditation, in whatever posture or way of being is for you. This comes from the Reverend Bill Sinkford, a former co-president of the UUA, our Unitarian Universalist Association. It comes from Blue Notes, an anthology of love, justice, and liberation put together by Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. You can get it at Skinner House Books, our denominational publisher. Reverend Sinkford titled this, "Only Begun." Spirit of life and love, dear God of all nations, there is so much work to do. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. Help us hold fast to our vision of what can be. May we see the hope in our history and find the courage and the voice to work for that constant rebirth of freedom and justice. That is our dream. Amen. I say a prayer to the Spirit of life and love as well for all of you, your families and friends. I continue to pray, as I have for the last 2 years, for anyone who feels lonely or estranged. May they find community, unity. I pray for healing for those who are suffering with COVID and other illness. I pray that love may pervade us and that we all may feel held in something truly, truly beautiful, even in a world on fire. With deep gratitude for this day, Ashe, Amen, and blessed be. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn, number 18, What Wondrous Love. And if you're at home, sing along, even on mute. We will feel it.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, O my soul, O my soul. Friends to me gathered round, O my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
So I want to talk about Curtis for a minute. We just had that great song. You don't have to stand. It's okay. We'll be there in a minute. So today's in 15 minutes, so at 11 o'clock, we're going to be having an all ages formal faith lesson in rooms 105, 107. And we're going to be talking about the spiritual practice of music. And Curtis is generously going to be teaching it for us. We're going to be talking about it. So I urge you to come and hear him. And he's going to be teaching us some songs. And it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. I also want to thank Erin, who also is a musician, I'm not volunteering you to teach the class, but thank you for being here. So we will see you at 11 o'clock.
We extinguish this flame, but we recommit anew to carrying into our week the flame of justice and love. May we share with others the courage and strength we find here.
Before I walk out, I'm going to invite you to be in a benediction with me. Will you, always by consent, always by invitation, but will you turn to someone and make a commitment? You can repeat after me if you'd like. You can say, I will share my joy. Now you turn to someone. Tell somebody. Tell somebody. Thank you. I'll tell you, I will share my joy. Thank you. And then how about we turn to someone and say, I will let others share my burden. I will let others share my burden. I believe in you. I know we can do it. We don't have to suffer alone. We don't have to struggle alone. That's why we're here. And then just so that we have it in our bodies for when we need it most, in those hard times, will you turn to someone and say, no feeling is final. Well, just take a moment. I see the spirit in this room of people who love each other. I just invite you to look around and take it in. From where I'm standing, I'm moved very deeply, looking at you and seeing the love that you have. And I just want you to take that time to take it in. You are a blessing and a gift. Thank you again, Live Oak UU, for your ministry in the world, to each other, and for sharing this pulpit with me today. Have a wonderful Sunday.